Delaware. It may be small in square miles, but when it comes to high strangeness per capita, it might just be leading the nation. From ghostly judges and uninvited guests in family graves, to pranksters whose jokes became folklore, and letters that probably came from another timeline. Tonight, we're reading some newspaper stories from the back roads of the first state. Welcome to the Delaware Paranormal Highway. Our journey begins, as all good paranormal road trips should, with anonymous mail and spiritual guilt. In 1889, William M. Field of Kentmere received a letter. No return address, just $2 and a confession. Being advised by my spiritual director to pay back $2 I had taken from you. The money, long owed. The sender, still unknown. Field gave it to charity and called it conscience money. But Delaware wasn't done with weird letters. In 1949, a couple in Collins Park received an envelope addressed to Chief of Secret Police, New Castle County, United States of North America. Inside, a mimeographed, 4-page letter from a man in Belgium complaining about magnetic energy being used against him since the age of 2. He claimed to be a king, or sometimes a crown prince. Honestly, it depended on the energy levels. The postal clerk delivered it to the Schlurfs because, frankly, they were the closest thing to Schlief, and that's how international psychosis became Delaware's problem. In 1982, Faye Todd was preparing to bury her beloved Aunt Mildred in the family plot at Lombardy Cemetery. A quiet affair, just 4 graves already planned out. Problem was, someone else had already moved in. A mysterious coffin lay right where Aunt Mildred was supposed to go. No name, no record, no explanation. The cemetery's response? We'll just dig a double-wide grave and nudge the mystery guest over a few feet. And that's how Aunt Mildred came to rest shoulder to shoulder with a total stranger, whose identity remains unknown to this day. As Mrs. Todd put it, until I find out who that stranger is, it's like my aunt's not buried. In 1965, the Morning News cataloged Delaware's most distinguished spirits. The headliner? Judge Samuel Chew, whose ghost paced the Dover Green so persistently that locals held a second funeral, just to shut him up. Other ghosts weren't quite as law-abiding. There was the fence rail specter, with eyes like dishpans and a tail like a bottle brush, said to terrify Frederica, the fiddler of Scott's Run, who drowned one night, and now only plays when the moon is high, and you've paid your toll in pocket change. And of course, Delaware's haunted houses, moaning bridges, and a ghost who returned not to haunt, but to remind people to lock up their guns. That's Delaware-style paranormal. Spooky, specific, and sometimes downright sensible. And then there are those persnickety ghosts who are birthed in stories. Steve Faulkner just wanted to motivate his work crew. That's all. In 1980, they were restoring Abbott's Mill, a sagging historic structure near Houston. To boost morale, Faulkner made up some ghost stories, harmless stuff, until tools went missing, and workers refused to enter rooms alone, and someone claimed they were slapped by a spirit. The story snowballed. Seances were held. A woman fainted. The ghost even got invited to the governor's restoration ceremony. By the time Faulkner confessed, it was all a prank. Nobody believed him. The mill apparently had gone union, and the ghost had tenure. In 1964, the editor of the Delmarva News enlisted Fred Stevens in a little local mischief. Stevens donned a raccoon coat, a scary mask, and a club with a spike in it, then jumped out at passing cars near the Great Cypress Swamp. The result? Instant legend, the Selbyville Swamp Monster. People panicked. Newspapers ran wild. Teens took dates to the swamp to monster watch. And Fred? He even joined search parties, looking for himself. But then hunters showed up with shotguns. That's when Fred retired. The costume sits in a shed. The legend? Still lurching through the woods. If sightings return, the article warned, it won't be Stevens behind the mask. If there even is a mask. Sometimes, maybe there really is something unexplainable floating around the state. In 1960, a man named Bulkley Griffin wrote to the Delmarva News asking a simple question. What was the glowing light in the sky over South Bethany on the evening of April 11th? Witnesses described a yellow-white orb that flickered, moved, changed colors, and eventually descended over the bay. The newspaper followed up. NASA's Wallops Island station confirmed they launched a couple rockets that day, but not during the reported sighting. Official response: no explanation available. So whether it's a prank that won't die, a ghost that wasn't supposed to be real, or a coffin that shows up without a name or a bill of lading, Delaware knows how to keep it weird. And lucky for us, these mysteries don't need solving, just telling. It's time to ride the Delaware Paranormal Highway in this episode of The Cosmic Fold.
The truth is out there, and it begins with you. Welcome to the Cosmic Fold, where we talk high strangeness. Call us at 928-288-2942. That's 928-288-2942. Or join us by video. If you're at a computer, just look for the link in the chat. Buckle up, sit around our virtual campfire, and let's get started.
Hello.
Hey. There he is, and there she is. How you guys doing?
Good. I'm enjoying my vape and my chocolate buzz bomb. It's a chocolate cocktail.
What's a chocolate buzz bomb? Really? What's in it?
It's a chocolate martini.
Made of wine.
Made of wine. Available at your higher class gas stations.
That's perfect for tonight, because in Delaware they have very weird ghosts, including ghosts that drink wine.
Right, and they've got a ghost of a former president. No, wait a minute, Biden's still alive. Never mind.
Oh my gosh. So, well, I'm glad everyone's systems are working tonight. The phone, not quite yet. I've got a young man gonna start helping me with the phones, because the problem is it's like you can only hear through one headset and then you have to go to another one. And so he's going to start doing that on Wednesdays, and we'll see how it goes on Saturdays, but that'll be nice.
I wish I was there. I could fix that for you with a $30 mixing board.
Well, I've got a $400 mixing board, and it just doesn't. I have talked to so many people, and it just it's been a nightmare. No. So
we had this problem when I was doing the live radio show down in Panama. We had a big round table with 4 microphones. So when I had interviewed guests, everyone had their own microphone, and at any given time, 2 weren't working, and it was a call-in show. So it got kind of sporty there. A little bit, but we made it work, and you'll make it work. I know you will.
Yep, I know I will, but it'll be good training for him. He's young and just out of high school, and so he's interested in doing this stuff. So it's like, okay, you could be my slave here. But so the Delaware stuff,
Hey, before we get started, I have to tell you, I laughed out loud at a part of your intro. I was late to the party. I had to use the restroom to get my water. Anyway, I walked in right as it was talking about they had to bury him twice to get him to shut up.
Because 2 funerals.
I met and married a man who could out-talk me. This was the thing to do when you're 19 and talkative and you've been told you talk too much your entire life.
Gonna have to bury my ass 3 times.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We got to be buried together. We can talk to each other, and multiple times.
There you go. I did an estate. Every once in a while, I get called to do estate work when basically they need somebody totally impartial. So I'm there with the judge, and it was a bad situation. But anyway, the judge and I are in this house, and he's getting the willies and I'm getting the willies. And it was just like, and even when they were selling things off, it was like people could hear this guy still. And he had this prized older, like muscle car kind of, he just loved this car. And somebody bought it and they were going to drive it away. And the car by itself starts rolling backwards. This judge was so freaked out. He's like,
was it a 58 Fury?
No, it wasn't that. I don't remember what it was. It was cool looking though. Is that what you've got?
No, that's Christine, the movie Christine, the possessed car.
Oh, okay.
I figured I'd ask. I've had cars roll away on me too, but that was only because the emergency brake cable broke.
Or
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah. I love it. So, well, the Delaware ones are really, how so many of these, it's like the stories kind of are the same after a while, and they're cryptids.
Like the lights in the sky, the triangles and all that, yeah.
Delaware is very creative with theirs. Now, there's some that are sort of, but for the most part, their stuff is really either funny or it's hoaxes, and then everybody buys into the hoax and thinks that they see ghosts or whatever. It's just a very different vibe there. Oh, you got that to chase down your chocolate wine, huh?
Mm-hmm. This is not product placement or sponsorship and ads.
Well, just in case 7-Up is listening, enjoy A&W root beer. Send the check to Deb Beeksman.
I love root beer. It's hard to find diet stuff, though. If I drink the other stuff, I'd be big. You'd have to roll me. It's like, well, let's do our little history thing. This was only 7 slides because it's a tiny state.
Welcome to Delaware, the first but often forgotten state, small in size, big in weirdness. Kind of like my daughter, Tina.
Yeah, well.
She's small, very weird.
Kind of like me, too.
Pleasantly weird, yes. The Cosmic Fold's history lesson, December 7th, 1787. First to ratify the U.S. Constitution, the very first state to ratify. Nicknames, the first state, Diamond State, thanks to Thomas Jefferson. And fun fact, there's only 3 counties, fewer than any other state. Ta-da! But size doesn't matter much. Geography and size, that's it, is the second smallest state after Rhode Island. It's only 96 miles long and 9 to 35 miles wide. That's shorter than Long Island. Population is about 1 million as of 2025, and Wilmington is the largest city, but Dover is the capital. I've been through Delaware a lot. I mean, a lot.
Have you?
A couple of 100 times in my youth. Yeah.
I have never been there.
Oh, it's beautiful, especially the Delaware Water Gap. Because when you go from New York City to Pennsylvania, I got family all over Pennsylvania, Scranton, Taylor, all up in there. You have to go through Delaware. And there's no other way to get there unless you got a helicopter. And the Delaware Water Gap, I'm sure, has got some weird stories in there, but it's really a beautiful state. It's just, you're in it for such a short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, our county is like 2 or 3 times bigger than that. It's
right. That's a little bit bigger than the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch, which is the size of Rhode Island. Boom. Okay. The quirky legal wonderland, home to over 1 million corporations. I've had 2 Delaware corporations. More than the population. More than 66% of Fortune 500 companies are incorporated here. The Chancery Court, or Chancery Court. No jury, just judges, like an ancient tribunal or a magistrate. Delaware is the Bermuda Triangle of corporate law.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's why you've had a.
I've had a couple of companies there. Yeah, no taxes.
Oh,
nothing.
yeah.
It's awesome. Anyway,
Wyoming has that now too. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
I think Nevada too.
Tax-free but not trouble-free. No sales tax, shopper's paradise. But its cozy relationship with big business draws scrutiny. Some conspiracy theorists call Delaware the hidden vault of America's shadow economy. I think it's just taking advantage of some really good tax laws for businesses.
Yeah, that's
But, you know,
how I see it.
The Underground Railroad and sacred trees. Delaware was both a slave state and a key stop for the Underground Railroad. Local legends tell of witness trees that seem to protect travelers. One such tree in Camden is said to whisper at night. Seriously. Spiritual and historic weirdness intersect here. And if you don't know what the Underground Railroad is, look up Harriet Tubman. This is a fantastic story. It just is.
You know where my family
yeah.
lives in Illinois. There's some houses through there that were part of the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't know why I didn't realize Delaware was a slave state. Also, I didn't. Yeah, I always learn something new in these. I probably knew it at one time. I just
It's
forgot
right
it.
on the cusp of what you call the Mason-Dixon line. You know, there's and also Virginia, which obviously Virginia we know was definitely a slave state. But when you go northern Virginia, Washington, Delaware, it's kind of a gray area in there, only because of the geographical proximity between the north and the south. Yeah, interesting stuff.
Yep.
Chicken, chemicals, and cryptids. Well, there you go. Look at the roosters. Wow. Now, if you look at that rooster, those two little testicle-looking things that are hanging off, that's called a waddle. And that thing on the top is called a comb. I know this because I unintentionally had roosters. That's a whole other story. Major industries, poultry, chemicals, DuPont, pharmaceuticals, banking. State has more poultry than people. On April 14, 1939, a law was enacted by the Delaware General Assembly designating the blue hen chicken as the official state bird, formalizing the tradition which began in 1775. DuPont's experimental labs, often rumored in fringe circles to be tied to dimensional experiments, Project Montauk style legends, I guess. The sources of this information is the University of Delaware and others. And pictured is that is not
That's
a hen.
the blue.
It's a blue
but
rooster.
They're called blue. Yeah, but they're called blue hen chickens. But yeah. But I don't know why I forgot this, but when we were talking about being buried twice, that estate I worked on, the guy was buried in the wrong place too. So like 4 years later, they had to dig him up and move him. So it was one of those days. You would have loved that one.
That's interesting.
See, I actually, okay, so they didn't technically move the body. I don't know if you know of Lenny Peyton Parsons and Lenny Peyton Parsons Jr. They were gospel singers way back.
I remember the story.
Okay. That's my great uncle, because it was my mother's uncle. Anyway, so Senior, who made the big splash and the noise that Junior picked up, sort of got some dementia going on. And he went to the family graveyard in my maiden name, Hamby, right there in Kentucky. And he rearranged the tombstones in alphabetical order. I could see that.
Oh my God.
Unbeknownst by himself when he was let out without anybody supervising him.
Oh my God.
Wow. I thought they were kind of heavy, the tombstones.
They
must have been little
are,
ones.
well, if you're wealthy, they're huge and heavy.
Yeah.
If you're not
so much.
And if this is way back, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that kind of graveyard.
Yeah.
But
I would do that, though.
I
would do
he
that.
just decided it had to be done.
Yeah.
And so you didn't get buried twice, but nobody knows where you're buried.
That's true. What did the people in the town or anyone say anything? Or
the town didn't have a big kerfluffle because it was literally a Hamby private
So
graveyard.
her family's private cemetery. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The family was obviously pissed. The ones who knew, who had been visiting all this time, they put their shit back. My family comes from like the backwoods in Kentucky
Kentucky
to
bootleggers.
Cincinnati, Ohio. And my grandfather worked on the railroads and had wives in different places from the Navy.
Oh my God.
The history alone.
Oh my God. That is funny. Oh, geez. All right,
Stranger
Al,
than
you ready?
fiction, but true.
We get to really test your narration skills tonight, Al, because some of these words are really hard.
Yeah, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you?
I do.
That's okay. I understand.
It's because I don't have to do it. So, all right.
All right, the Cosmic Folds Paranormal Highway Delaware edition continues after this message from our sponsors. No, we don't have any sponsors. We need to get some sponsors.
Do you want me to take us off so it's bigger or not?
Do what?
Do you want me to make this bigger or not?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Ghost Stories from the News Journal, October 11, 2006. The ticking time bomb in the 1700s. Charles Mason of the Mason-Dixon line fame was in Delaware working on a chronometer, an early precision timekeeper. We call them watches. While he was away, a mischievous child got into Mason's tent, destroyed the chronometer. Mason, devastated, reportedly declared it would worketh until the end of time. He buried the empty chronometer box and possibly the kid at the London Track Church in Landenberg. Today, locals say if you lay your head near the flat grave marker by the crumbling steps, you can hear the ticking. I know that if I lay my head down on something and I hear ticking, I am running the hell away. Calling the bomb.
Yeah, they actually have the spot marked and everything there. It's
I see that. Wow, that's cool though.
Quite a legend, I guess.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be cool. Never seen that one. Ghost Stories from the News Journal again, October 11, 2006. Dead Presidents. I thought we talked about this. Esquire rated it one of the best bars in America. Locals know the Dead Presidents Pub as one of the best places in Wilmington to grab a bite to eat and a delicious craft beer. Some, however, feel the tickle up the spine or the back of the neck while sitting at the bar at Dead Presidents. The News Journal writes, don't blame the beer, blame a customer who frequented the tavern in the 1950s. Excuse me. He was a prankster, always playing jokes on the staff and other tavern regulars. His last laugh was when he slipped in a puddle of urine in the men's bathroom, but he liked the place so much he decided to stick around as a ghost. A ghost that smells like...
I told you their stories are a little different out here.
They are a little different.
It looks like
in here. Oh, don't worry about it. That's just the customer there.
When you look at their website, though, just look it up, Dead Presidents Pub. It looks like a really cool place. It's pretty cool.
Well, a good band, too. Ghosts at the university. There are several resident ghosts at the University of Delaware. They must have gotten ghost tenure. The News Journal speculates a man named Edward Roach was murdered on the steps of Old College. People have seen his ghost on the steps there and in the lobby. In Mitchell Hall, a ghost named Elmo roams. Mitchell Hall has an upper level and a catwalk, and the story is that Elmo fell from it and bled to death on the floor of Mitchell Hall. Residents of Warner Hall, girls' dorm, report things banging against a false wall.
I think I saw a documentary on that one.
Sure it wasn't people from the boys' dorm?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Against a false wall, what's going on over there?
Right. See? See what I'm saying? The old Newcastle. Taking a sip of my root beer. Take heed, 7-Up. Old Newcastle is known for ghost sightings, including a man seen hanging himself in front of a courthouse. The Amstel house is the town's most haunted spot, with reports of a woman appearing in the bedroom window and furniture moving on its own. In the 1940s, a caretaker sensed an apparition, burst into tears, and refused to stay in the house again, as one does. Severe tragic stories are tied to the home, including the death of a mother and a child during childbirth, and a mourning ring inscribed, "I mourn thy virtue lost to me," still on display. Spirits like women like Anna Finney, who died by her own hand after her fiance was killed in battle, and a woman named Elizabeth, who lost her family to tuberculosis consumption, are thought to linger, one possibly appearing as a mysterious woman in blue.
It's kind of like the blue hens. They like blue out there. It's
They do.
kind of
They
a
do.
theme.
Partying at the Woodburn Mansion, there are ghosts, and then there are our kind of ghosts. Ghosts that like to drink, writes the News Journal. The Woodburn Mansion in Dover is known for its party-loving spirits, especially the tipping ghost who uncorks wine bottles left overnight. Leave a sealed bottle out, and by morning the cork's gone, and the ghost supposedly blames the mess on the cat. Another ghost dressed in fabulous 18th century breeches and a puffy shirt is often seen dancing across the yard with a jug of wine in his hand. The hauntings may have started in the 1800s, including ghost sightings near a slave-run trapdoor and icy cold spots in the basement. One unlucky owner reportedly fell down the stairs and strangled himself in his own collar. But this ghost, like the wine, still flows freely.
Their stories were pretty good out there.
Ghosts in puffy shirts.
Here's another blue thing.
Ooh,
Another
the Blue
blue
Man.
one.
The Blue Man and the Civil War Spirits. Fort Delaware State Park is located on Pea Patch Island in the middle of the Delaware River. Built in the 19th century to protect the ports of Wilmington and Philadelphia, it served as a prison camp for Confederate prisoners during the Civil War. Almost 13,000 prisoners were held at one time, and around 33,000 were kept there in total over the course of the war. Conditions were rough. Some 2,500 men died at the fort. Many of them are now buried at Finns Point National Cemetery, just across the river in New Jersey. I feel bad for anyone buried in New Jersey. The fort was abandoned towards the end of World War II and became a state park in 1951, and apparitions, voices, and shadow figures plague the Civil War prison. Diamond State ghost investigators photographed the Blue Man, ghost at Fort Delaware. It's shown in the image from dncrec.delaware.gov. The fort appeared on the sci-fi show Ghost Hunters, where investigators reported hearing cannon fire, seeing a man through a thermal imaging camera, and even having a person physically touched by a ghost. That Blue
It's
Man,
like the thing is,
right there, man.
it is kind of weird, this picture, though. It's
It's pretty cool, though, you know? I mean,
that the government actually published it, but they get tourist revenue that way.
Yeah. Oh, the Rockwood Mansion, the haunted estate. Wilmington's Rockwood Mansion is a 150-year-old estate that is now a public park, featuring a 6-acre historic garden, a mansion, and a museum. And the 2022, quote, Best of Delaware reviews, its ghost tour receives the editor's pick for the best ghost tour. The Rockwood Park Preservation Society writes, as seen on Sci-Fi's Ghost Hunters, Rockwood Mansion offers quite the thrill for those interested in the paranormal. Guests have reported seeing the ghost of former residents, and some have allegedly smelled the perfume of one of the more. On the paranormal tour, learn to use professional spirit detecting equipment while investigating the space, top floor to bottom. That sounds like pretty cool. You can find that on rockwoodpreservation.org.
If you want to learn the history of a place, take the ghost tour. It's the
Right.
best way. They're really good. And they're funny. The tour guides are usually pretty good. So
Yeah. Sounds cool. Cooch's
yeah.
Bridge.
I thought you'd like that.
I know. I'm just like the 12-year-old me in me is just going nuts right now. Headless Revolutionary War soldier. Another ghostly Delaware location is Cooch's Bridge in Newark. The site of a Revolutionary War battle is supposedly haunted by a headless soldier decapitated by a cannonball. Wow. According to the state government's website, the Cooch's Bridge historic site includes the Cooch Homestead and the Cooch Dayet Mill complex. The site is currently transitioning from private ownership to public site, undergoing necessary preservation and renovation. The location of Delaware's only Revolutionary War era land battle, the site's history covers centuries. Stories including agricultural use, industry, and the experiences of Black families, both free and enslaved, and the Cooch family who lived on the property for 7 generations. The site right now is closed to the public except for registered tour participants. And that's a picture of it from the Delaware.gov website. That's pretty cool.
Can you imagine a place that's been lived in for 7 generations? That's then I was thinking, what happened that it's now going to the state? You know, maybe they all died off. I don't know.
Maybe,
But
yeah.
kind of unusual.
It is. ADCN, a vibrating tub, and organ music.
That sounds pretty nice.
It
Your
does.
back
doesn't
hurts, sit in the vibrating tub.
Built in 1902 by John M. Addy, the Addy C began hosting church groups during the Depression and has been run by the Gravatt family for the past 25 years. The Victorian-style inn offers seaside charm and a reputation as one of Delaware's most haunted hotels. Its most infamous feature, a copper bathtub in room 1 that reportedly vibrates violently on its own. Room 6 adds to the mystery with a phantom organ music, despite no organ being on the premises. And room 11 is said to be haunted by former employee Paul Delaney, whose presence still lingers. You can find all this on hauntedrooms.com. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yep, never heard of a vibrating copper tub before.
No, I'm afraid that's a new one for me too. Selbyville Swamp Monster.
Whoops. Okay.
From the opening video, if you remember, this hairy humanoid with red eyes created quite a stir in 1964, but it turned out it was a prank. Image from June 7, 2008 issue of the News Journal. Yeah, it's still, you know, it's still pretty cool.
Yep. He's dressed in it, and the older lady there is his wife, and then some other person from the town are reading, and it's like, that's why when you see these news articles, you just wonder, because this one, they kind of did it to start selling newspapers, and pretty soon everyone's, you know, publishing stories about this. People are going out there, put it on the map. There he is. So that was, I don't know if he's still alive. What were you going to say?
That's where I feel about anything in our current times. Is they've designed something that you will pay money to go see. Mm-hmm. And the lore might have always been there as the family ghost story. Based in fiction or not, it was the family ghost story. Delaware's not far from New York. There's a headless horseman. Things travel. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so whatever it was, you were raised with hearing your version of it. But now they've made it money makers.
True.
But enough people now, we're seeing this across the world right now, that we get so caught up and we're convinced of what is going on that we can smell things and hear things. We can make our own hair stand up on our body. You can convince yourself you're pregnant. Did you know that's a real thing? And so what I'm saying is,
it is.
that once you get swept up in whatever it is, whether it's a ghost or it's a place or it's a dream or it's a volatile situation like some current headlines, you can get caught up and in a frenzy. I've seen it. You watch it in concerts. I've seen it in churches. I've seen it in street protests where everybody gets caught up. And so now it's a thing, and if anybody can profit off it, they will.
Yeah. Well, and that, you know,
and that's where I'm like a realist. Come on.
Well, Tombstone is like that big time. It's just like the whole thing is like a big tourist trap, and to me, it's kind of chintzy.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing that used to, you'd walk in a place and your hair would naturally stand up and it gave you a vibe, was exciting and alive. And it was in your memory. It's just, you can still smell it and you can feel it on your skin and get goosebumps. So they're trying to recreate these moments and they're trying to sell it to you. but you can't relive certain moments twice.
Right. That's true. That is true.
Just can't.
Yeah.
I remember the smell of the dank caves when my dad took us to things as a family, and we watched the icicles hanging from ceilings and floors, and we saw gems and real things of the earth, and that smell in there. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And so you can't replace that.
Especially your first experience with it.
Right.
It's like,
And
yeah.
so I think a lot of us get ripped off trying to relive something that feels like home, that feels like comfort, that reminds us of things we loved and cherished.
Yeah. Well, that's a hook sometimes a lot of them use. I mean, you know,
The manipulation of the human condition in our world today is all by feelings. I want some nerds to start running the world.
There you go.
They
Exactly.
have facts. It's not a popularity contest. They're not popular.
Well, yeah, and it's not all these fights on media. And it's just got like a bunch of kids, you know, in high school.
Well, that's one of the reasons I think why these stories, whatever state they're in, intrigue us. You know, because it's just something out of the ordinary. It's something out of the status quo. You know, you could be sitting there doom scrolling through social media, you know, reading all the crap that's going on in the world. Then you come across like a really good ghost story, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to stop here for a minute and read this because it's just a lot. It's fun to me. This stuff is fun. I mean, I know some of it can be scary. Like this guy Stevens here. Did this prank for several years, and it says that he stopped posing as a creature out of fear for his own safety. People started coming out to the swamp in pickups, and you can hear him shooting. Yeah, and he says, "I'll be damned if I was going to get out there." I was actually getting kind of scared later on. We were getting a lot of crazy people out there, and people continue to report sightings of the monster even after Stevens stopped the portrayal. And there's a picture of him over here. The right side of your screen holding his costume. He had to replace the original monster mask, which deteriorated years ago. Yeah.
But the human nature is attack anything you don't understand or agree with.
Yeah.
Yep. But you know what I like about these stories is that it really gives you a flavor for these different states of what they're like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why I throw in a little bit of the history of these the weird history and stuff, and it does. It's I learn something from this every time. It's like, this is. I think the Delaware people are really kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
Like and there he is again.
And you can't you can't have a weird.
Apparently, we all got one.
I'm beginning to think
so. Our subdivision, we got one.
We got one. Yeah.
I was thinking, you know, before doing the research, okay, there's going to be two places where there's no Bigfoot. Delaware and Rhode Island, because they're so little. Bigfoot, he's in Delaware.
Delaware's got Woodbooger.
Okay.
The first reported Bigfoot sighting dates back to 1892 when the old Post newspaper reported a creature dubbed as the Woodbooger. This early account predates the famous Pacific Northwest sighting by decades, suggesting Delaware has its own deep-rooted Sasquatch lore. The creature was described as large, hairy, and bipedal. You know, I feel targeted by that comment. Matching modern Bigfoot descriptions and showing consistency across time and geography, skeptics argue it could have been a misidentified animal. Yeah, right. But the report came long before Bigfoot was part of American pop culture. The 1892 sighting marks the beginning of Delaware's surprisingly rich Bigfoot history, linking it to the broader North American phenomenon.
That actually really surprised me that their reports were so much earlier than when it hit pop culture.
Mm-hmm. Right. But
maybe they just migrated west, huh?
But back then, anything you saw that even near was close to the stories you heard, That's what you said. And that's where the lore starts among families and generations and communities. And so I like hearing about the old stuff. I like getting goosebumps, knowing something's going on. I experience it personally. I like that. I just hate that today's culture has abused it.
Yep. But this is kind of cool, though. I mean, maybe Bigfoot originated in Delaware, for all we know. I mean, it's like so much. I mean, the story is so much older than everywhere. Like California claimed to be like the first Bigfoot.
Right.
Maybe it was Delaware, but called a Woodbooger.
That's interesting. Ooh, a Pukwudgie, a forest trickster. Pukwudgies are ancient creatures from Wampanoag. You're killing me, Deb. Folklore, and it's said to have roamed the region for thousands of years. The Wampanoag are a Native American people from the northeastern woodlands, and what they look like? Knee-high tricksters, gray skin, big ears, oversized heads, and snouts that rival a pug's. Sounds like my chihuahua. Magical mischief. Pukwudgies can vanish at will, shapeshift into animals, and generally love to mess with people for fun. Others say they are spiteful and enjoy leading humans astray.
Is that like the devil on your shoulder?
Right.
But he's cute. Sort of.
Is that what it is? Oh, okay.
Cougars and the phantom kangaroo. Reports of eastern cougar sightings have surfaced across Delaware. Locations like Concord, Harrington, and Wilmington are frequently mentioned. These accounts are referenced in George Eberhardt's Guide to Mystic Creatures. Same source mentions an unusual sighting of a wild kangaroo in Concord, a phantom kangaroo, and another report claims that hair samples believed to be from a kangaroo were found in the state and allegedly confirmed through DNA testing, according to Truth is Scary. Wow.
Probably came from a zoo or something.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Cougars, though, is that weird? I guess maybe. I don't know.
Now I was laughing at about 2 this morning, thinking, okay, Al's gonna have so much fun saying this word.
The Zwaanendael Merman.
There you go.
The Zwaanendael Merman
was good.
Thank you. I practiced. The Zwaanendael Merman is a mermaid-like cryptid said to haunt the waters near Lewis, Delaware. Describing as having a human upper body, a fishtail, glowing green eyes, and swift movements. The first recorded sighting was in 1632 when frightened Dutch settlers reportedly saw the creature and fled their settlement. Sightings have continued across the centuries with reports from 1700, 1800, and 1900 as recently as 2000, including encounters on the shore, in the bay, and near kayaks. Despite multiple eyewitness accounts, no solid evidence has ever been found, fueling debate over whether the merman is a legend, hoax, or a hidden reality. And there's a good website out there called NorthAmericanCryptids.com. You should check it out, and you can find this story on there as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And here's the last one. They didn't have a lot of UFO like stories. I mean, some of it like on Reddit and whatever. But this is that site that you recommended, the Enigma Labs.
Yeah, Enigma.
And
yeah.
Isn't that interesting? How it's that same spike I've been seeing everywhere, like November, December, when everyone was doing the drones. But recently, they kind of popped up in January also.
Yeah,
so it was like a flat line until everyone started talking about the drones.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, and see, that's causation versus correlation. It's making the news. Everybody's going, look up. So you always have to decide mass hysteria or everybody went, look at the sky, and it's doing all kinds of crazy stuff every day, but we don't stand there and watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so it's like, well...
And I've gone through all of these states, and it's like you just watch that spike go up through every single during that time frame. And when
it's just like everybody's like, And now we are getting to the point finally, I guess, where we are outpacing our history. But it's like, oh, we have more violent crime now. No, we don't. They were all killing each other.
Yeah.
Oh, we have more diseases now. Do you know how many of them didn't see 40? Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
So it's just, we've come so far, and yet at times we choose to be so ignorant. It's mind-boggling.
It is, absolutely.
Well, we're animals, just ones that can talk and run technology, but
We
you know,
are
we've got that same animalistic instinct.
The human condition is across the globe. This is not unique in any way. We all have hunger, thirst, medical needs, physical needs, mental needs, emotional needs, spiritual needs. We all crave and need almost the same things with variations.
We are apes with car keys.
See?
Ooh, 3D braining in a 2D land. I love that. Wait, but it looks like the rewatch is gonna. It is. I promise. Yes, I know. I see she's frozen.
My internet
Yeah. So
that just kind of went up. So brain.
Yeah. Well, we apologize for the technical problems over there in Arizona, but you know, it happens. It's nice to see Deb pixelated and frozen.
Our internet has just been awful.
Yeah, you're gonna like the rewatch there, 3D Judy. It's gonna be fun. Always fun. We have fun here. We have a lot of fun.
So am I back on or not? I'm like popping from whatever internet I can find.
You're a little jumpy and a little pixelated, but you're here.
That's how I usually am.
See? You mean to tell us actually your camera's working fine? That's just how you walk around?
Yeah. Let me see if I could get another thing here.
We could all use another thing. I'm going to have to cut that off right there. Let's just So, anyway, while Deb tries to work out her technical problems, Delaware is a very interesting state. If you ever drive through there, definitely check out some of the...
Now I've jumped onto Starlink. Does that work?
Yeah, you're okay, I think. Wait.
Am I back or not?
You're back. Yeah, you're just a little frozen, sometimes delayed, you know, a little...
You're in and out.
But you seem to be doing okay now. Say hello.
Hey, well, I'm on Starlink now. I'm jumping from, so it seems to be everywhere. We're having internet problems out here.
Yeah. I think it's a conspiracy. The ghosts know we're doing this, but they're attacking your internet.
No, we're not quite the hour, but finished last. We have some commentary, but I keep fading out here. So
yeah, you're losing it, honey. I mean, and not
the best
your
way
fault.
possible.
No dig intended.
But if you're going through Delaware, check out some of those areas. If you're going to rewatch the video, maybe write down some of the websites. And Delaware is small; it's easy to drive through.
The heat has us all feeling unstable.
Oh yeah,
because I am not an angry person until I'm too hot.
I'm not an angry person until I get behind the wheel.
Well, that is a lie.
No, mate.
If you get hot,
oh yeah.
If you're behind the wheel, if you're hungry.
Yeah, well. Okay.
All right. Bye, Deb. I think she can't.
Can you see me?
Oh, I can see you.
Yeah, I can see you now. You're moving.
Okay. Well, I just texted you guys. Let's just go ahead and end this because I can't hear you guys through half of it here.
Ah, okay. All right.
But this was fun. It was a good one. We will talk soon. Thank you guys both. Enjoy your chocolate wine.
And hopefully a sponsor down the road, maybe.
Excellent. And thank you, 3D Braining. The replay will be better. Here we
Yes.
go.
Thanks so much for joining us. We love hearing your stories, so tell your friends so they can join the party. For show notes and our forum of high strangeness, visit cosmicfold.com. Remember, Cosmic Fold airs live on Wednesday and Saturday nights, so be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to know when we're on air. Thanks again and have a great evening.